By now, you've heard about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Zoom, Signal, WhatsApp, Telegram, and even House Party. But have you heard about Clubhouse, one of the newest and trending social networks that's out there? Let's chat. Hey, what up? It's your boy MobbJustice back again with another video. As always, thank you to everyone who has been watching. In the past, we've spoken a lot about WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, and last year when we all got indoors due to social distancing, we reviewed Zoom. We also talked about House Party. But for today, we are looking at a new social platform. It's been around, for a little bit, and it's actually in beta at the moment, and it's called Clubhouse. Before we get into it, remember as always that this video is brought to you by the team at Liyon Media. For some of the crispiest and dopest photo, video, audio, and music content out there, head on over to lionmedia.com. So Clubhouse is a new mobile-driven social networking platform that's gained a little bit of a buzz in the last couple of months and actually gained quite a bit of a followership. I recently got onto the app and I'd actually heard about it for some time last year because there were a number of big artists that would sit and just have conversations on the app, and you'd hear that something came out on Clubhouse. The way that I describe Clubhouse is to say it's the cross between podcasting, workshops, panel discussions, and Q&As, right? If all of those different formats came together and had a baby, that's basically what Clubhouse is. Now, last year I did a video when Zoom and House Party and all of those platforms are coming to prominence, and specifically on House Party, the way that app was structured, particularly the rooms feature, I would say that Clubhouse has sort of become what House Party was trying to be, right? And it's actually interesting because what makes Clubhouse quite unique is the fact that it is conversation driven, right? It's all about having discussions, whether meaningful or very silly, but a lot of people are discussing very serious topical issues, whether it's marriage, whether it's finance, health and beauty, how to fund a startup, policy making, politics, war, all of these deep meaningful discussions. At the same time, some people use the platform to just chill, but all of it is conversation and discussion driven. There is no DM, no direct messaging on the platform. There's no texting on the platform. There's no video calling on the platform. There's no direct interaction that happens in the ways that we are used to in other platforms. It's all discussion based. It's all audio only, and I think that's one of the things that's really made Clubhouse quite unique. With some understanding of what Clubhouse is, what is the importance of the platform? And I think there's a couple of indications of why this thing is disruptive and could be a game changer. Now, the first is the fact that there are a number of prominent people that are on Clubhouse at the moment, and people are having really serious discussions and just connecting all over the world. I would say that one of the key things with Clubhouse is its ability to give you a rich conversation experience. But on top of that, the ability to network. Like I said, you have people all over the world, and in a discussion room, you can have people from, let's say, 20 different countries, and people are constantly following each other. And if you're savvy, right, you will find yourself being able to connect with people in your industry or field of interest, quite well. And in recent weeks, this point has been proven by a story that came out, because we remember that GameStop, Robinhood, it was a big story, especially in January into early February, when the price of GameStop really went up due to what was going on with the guys on Reddit, etc. And it actually then came out that the CEO of Robinhood actually explained all the things that happened behind the scenes due to a discussion discussion that was had between him as the CEO and Elon Musk, who we all know as the CEO of Tesla, and for some time earlier this year he was the richest man in the world. So you can see the level of engagement that's actually happening on the platform, and these are the things that are helping to drive adoption of the platform. Apart from that, you can usually gauge how important an idea or concept is when you start seeing people trying to replicate or copy that particular thing. We've seen this with Instagram and the Facebook group of companies for a while. Snapchat came out with things like stories, and Instagram and Facebook came out with stories, right? And in the same way, TikTok rose to prominence, and you had Instagram coming in with its reels. And now you see the same trend happening, because as Clubhouse has started rising to prominence, Twitter has its own competing platform called Spaces, and Facebook is actually rumored to be working on a similar concept, which sort of points to the idea that the guys at Clubhouse might really be onto something. Now, it wouldn't be a complete discussion about Clubhouse if we didn't at least mention the two big things that some people think are controversial about the platform, and things that some have actually had problems with. The first one, and it's the one that causes the most ire about the platform, is that Clubhouse is only available on iOS. So unfortunately, if you don't have an iPhone, you can't get onto Clubhouse. Some people feel like it's a bit elitist, and that Clubhouse is only going after a certain type of person, but at the moment it is what it is. That said, the team at Clubhouse has said that they are working on an Android app, so we just wait to see what's going on that end. But for now, it does seem to be working in their favor. The second part is that to get onto Clubhouse or to register an account, you need to be invited. It is an invite-only program, right? So you can't just download the app and put in your email and Bob's your uncle. No, you need to have someone else who comes in and actually gives you an invite. You click the link, you download the app. It verifies that that person is the one that invited you onto the app, and then you get onto the platform. Once you get onto the platform, you are initially given two invites where you can invite two other people onto the platform, and then depending on your engagement, etc., the app might give you a few more invitations as time goes on. From a business point of view, I really think their rollout strategy has been quite clever. They've definitely been quite what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional about the way that they're doing things. Firstly, going after iOS devices, but also the invite system, because they are a new platform, they are growing, which means they get to control the speed at which people come onto the platform, and they can scale their systems to cope with increased demand, in a sort of a systematic way, as opposed to if they randomly got 2, 3, 4, 5 million users all at the same time, as we saw with Signal a few weeks ago after the WhatsApp debacle. Some of their systems couldn't handle that increased demand. So now I'm just going to open the app and just run through some of the key features, because I think that will help to explain how the discussions and the clubs and all of that are actually structured. So if I open my phone right now and then we type in club, we see we've got Clubhouse at the top, and I really like the logo that they have. I think it's quite unique. You've got a guy with the guitar there, and when you open the app, you're greeted with this area, which is basically a timeline of sorts, and you see that there are rooms that are happening right now, and you see all the different discussions that are happening. These are all discussions. If you click on any one of these, then you are immediately transferred and you're connected and you can participate, right? So that's that part. Now you'll see the little greenhouses. Those are clubs, right? You can join a club, and let me slide over to my profile to maybe illustrate. So if I click on my profile, you see that this is my profile. you see that one of the key things is that you can write a bio. It shows you follower information, which is normal. It also shows you the person who nominated you. As I said, it's an invite only system, and Daniel is the person that nominated me. At the bottom, it shows you the clubs that you're a member of. So if I was to click this one, for example, private equity in Africa, it shows the profile and people that are, in the specific club, do's, don'ts, rules. People usually put that at the top. And what happens is that this is a club, and there will be thousands of people usually in a club, and you can start a room. And basically, if you start a room, if we come back over to where we were, if you basically start a room, it allows you to choose, where you want the room to go from, because you can have clubs that are based on just a room, or rooms that are based on a specific club. And what it does is, if you start a room, it will let all the people in the club know that you've started a specific room, and if they want to join the discussion, they can do that. Otherwise, you can have a closed room, pick a couple of people, and you just start chatting in that way. At the top, you've got your notifications. There's a little calendar feature at the top. It shows you that these are the different. Sometimes you can schedule a room, a chat, a discussion. That's what you see at the top there. So we can just quickly use this one as an example. Basically, if you click on a room, it will just basically open it up, and you're now connected. You're now in the room. At the top, it usually shows the people that are actually speaking, and then in the middle, the people that are being followed by the speakers. And then if we scroll all the way to the bottom, you then get a section where it's the rest of the room and what is called the audience. Some of the key features is the fact that on this front, you can just click the little plus button, and if you click that, you can actually trigger the people that you follow, and you can actually ping them to join in the discussion if you want them to come into the room as well. And then if you see the little hand icon over there, that usually allows you to put up your hand, as you see on other platforms such as Zoom or Microsoft Teams, and basically the moderators will allow you to talk. If you want to leave, there's a little button. It says leave quietly, and then you just disappear out of the room. And if you click the little calendar, it actually shows all the different events or rooms that are upcoming, that have been scheduled, right? And then if you click the little bell notification that's here, it will give you details who the speakers are going to be. And then it also gives you some other functionality, the ability to share, the ability to actually, you can add to your calendar so that you get a reminder, join a room in progress, that type of thing. And then the last part is that if you click the search function, you can actually just show your different interests and actually register that way, because this is one of the key ways that you're able to join rooms. You can just, let's say, click hustle, and you see all the different things that are happening on that front of the clubs and stuff like that. Okay, so today I'm doing something a little bit different because I decided that I should get a guest. And this is my first guest on the show in probably 41 episodes. And, I decided, let me get the person that actually put me on to put me onto a house party. And that's Daniel Durand. So Daniel, firstly, greetings to you, and I guess a little bit about yourself and what your interest in how in Clubhouse is.
Yeah, man. Liyon, first of all, thank you, man. I am really, really honored to be your first guest here. Man, Clubhouse, really, I think it bridged the gap for me as it pertained to my general work for business as an entrepreneur. Generally, my training for work was always you'd get into the office, make 24 calls a day, make 100 calls a week, trying to aim to hit about 400, 500 cold calls in a month, which was tough. And then I get this app called Clubhouse, and you more or less spend a few hours on it. And you get to connect with various people across the globe, people connecting with a level of intent. So it's just so amazing because it's opened that opportunity for access. For you to be able to talk to people from like China to America and to talk about specific things that are interesting to you. So that's what Clubhouse went and did for me. So it's been a pretty exciting journey so far.
And in terms of that connection with other entrepreneurs, specifically, what business are you in?
So what we've been doing is we've been helping like SMEs with like growth techniques. So be it with financial structuring, with capital raising, with finding import and export markets for their products. So from that perspective is we always actively networking so we can get into new markets. We're always also looking for like investors to invest in these people. It's a lot of matchmaking. So we match investors to the potential investments. So because of that, it's like a high volume thing. As it pertains to finding investors, everyone has their specific appetites, their risk appetites as it pertains to investing in Africa. So you have to like source and go through all that. So to create that database, that's where you're doing like 400 calls a month, trying to get that list of possible investors that you're going to hopefully one day be able to use to link to an investor. So just the shortcut that Clubhouse was, it's like you can go in someone's bio and see, look, interest is in oil and gas, interest is in manufacturing, agriculture. And you just pop them an email and say, hey, are you interested in business in Africa? Open so many doors. Or you are having a conversation in a group like this, and I basically say what I'm doing. And people just start following you, start messaging you, saying, hey, I'm trying to export from Ethiopia, trying to import stuff from China into Africa. So it's different relationships like that. I think the benefit for an entrepreneur comes from if you're trying to scale in Africa and let's say business is haphazard, it's not always consistent due to whatever market-related the issues you may face. The possibility to export and to have a long off-take agreement for like 12 months with an international client can stabilize your business while you decide to grow. So we also assist from that aspect. It's like when you like hit the bank, when you win your tender, that you just don't go and buy like a Bugatti first time around, like you invested sensibly, for the long term. So that's been like really, what the Clubhouse has done for me. Even like I'll say it's been like a masterclass in a way. Just access to such brilliant minds and brilliant people. It's more or less Clubhouse, like it's the joy of conversation with strangers. And it's like meeting a stranger at a park. And you're not worried about being assaulted. You're not worried about what does this person want from me. It's just the curiosity about who are you and what are you doing with your life. So it's just brilliant levels of connection that it offers.
I was actually about to ask, like, what makes as a social platform, because people like boxing, putting things into boxes. And it's been described as it's a social network, right? But you have, I think one of the best descriptions I've had so far, someone said that it's like a cross between a workshop or a panel, a podcast, and the question and answer session at a workshop. It's like that. It's like, so I guess from your point of view, like what makes it special? Like what's making this thing trend so much, apart from the fact that you have guys like Elon Musk going and interviewing the CEO of Robinhood and stuff like that, but like on the ground, like what's actually making people tick?
Oh man, it's one, it's the joy of conversation. It's two, it's the joy of connecting and what you can do with it. Like you're talking about how it can be like a panel discussion, a forum. For someone like you, this could be a radio station. Like you just have your time slot where people just want to come in and hear you. It allows people to come together at the intersection of interest. So whatever your interest is, as long as you're willing and comfortable and brave enough to put it out there, it allows you to attract other people with a similar interest. And that's just so unique. So like, look, if you're like a podcaster and you get into a podcast and you start doing your podcast, most of your friends might not like your podcast, like the topic of your podcast, even though they love you, but they might not listen to it. But like when you put yourself in an environment like Clubhouse, you start to connect with so many like-minded people, or so many people that have been looking for like your type of information. And it just opens you up to their network, be it if the person is in Asia and they love the way you carry out your podcast, and they start opening you up, and you're an African, they start opening you up to the Asian community because they like it and they're sharing and they're interacting with your media. So it's just the possibilities are limitless if you have a plan and if you have an execution for it. I think that's what's important. Yeah.
Okay, before we actually get to that plan, for execution, I feel like we need to address, I'd say the elephant in the room is on two fronts when it comes to Clubhouse, and it all has to do with their rollout, because there are two specific things that Clubhouse has done which I find unique, but also the way that it's caught on, has been interesting. The first one is the fact that, they've decided that this is their life. Right?
Target market.
and coupled with this, if this wasn't bad enough or exclusive enough, they decided, okay, we're also going to use an invite system, right? So what would you what's your thought about the rollout plan? Because for me personally, I thought it was quite unique. I've actually heard about Clubhouse. You really put me onto like the importance of being onto Clubhouse. But I had heard about Clubhouse for like, I'd say the last 6 months to a year sort of now. Yeah, but I'd say in the last half year is when I'd heard the most about Clubhouse, specifically from music circles, right? Because especially American artists apparently were spending a lot of time just talking to people on Clubhouse. So I was like, okay, fine, there's this app, it's called Clubhouse. But beyond that, I don't think I had fully appreciated it. And then now that, you're sort of on, you're like, okay, fine, this rollout is interesting. And there's the invite system, and I'm like, okay, this is different. And then there's the fact that they've chosen to be on iOS. From a technology point of view, I understand you make one app and it works just on iPhone. It's easier for your developers. Cool. But I think it must be deeper than that. I think they knew who they wanted on the app.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, one, it's based in America where they started off. So, of course, you're going to make it for your larger target audience. Understand that even right now, it's like you, I was hearing about Clubhouse for a while. I just didn't know what it was. And they won't really hectically marketing it. Understand they've been building this app around people using it. So even now, they still have all these town hall updates like, hey, guys, this is what we're doing. It really is a live experiment, what they're doing right now. So I think that's why there's the whole Apple thing, and also exclusivity sells. It's like having invites to a specific party or something like that, where everyone wants to go in, or fashion events. It just makes it all like people fighting to come in. If you have limited tickets, like, you're really thinking about who you're inviting. You're not just like sending this out. You're like, who's actually going to benefit and who's actually going to add value. One of the things, like I told you like earlier on about sending out invites, is that's important real estate, because every time someone goes to your profile, they see Mudiwa added by Daniel B. Durand. So if you go fight, if you go do anything bad on Clubhouse, it comes back to me. So you always want to think about that as you dish out your invites and stuff. And I think that also adds to the whole aspect of it. So I mean, like, you have heard with Twitter and Facebook, or now, like, you know, working on their own versions of voice chats, communication beings to come at Clubhouse. They're all doing it, but I still think Clubhouse has won out as it pertains to exclusivity, because it brought in the groups and it brought in the cliques, and it brought in the whole system of, we're coming in as a group to dominate, and then people realize it, oh wait, there's more to this. It's like, yes, we're here as a group, but we have to interact and we have to open doors. So it's a unique model. I know people don't like it, but I'd say it's smart. If you're running your own business, it's a smart move. Yeah.
And it's actually true, because I think that controversy as well has sort of helped them in some ways, because firstly, you have a bunch of you have a lot of Android users, right? I have now, you know, in the Android community, there's people, you know, on the Android side that are probably sitting and, you know, waiting to actually get their hands on the app. So I think, you know, it helps on that end. And then at the same time, the whole invite system, I think that's the real genius, you know, because even though there isn't a limit on the number of invites, it still has that air of exclusivity, and you sort of think, because you get your initial invites and they add, you know, as time goes by, and it sort of adds to that whole thing. But one of the things,
if you think like in the sense of you don't want to just open up the app and have 100 million to 1 billion people signing up in one day. It might dilute all the conversation and interacting if there's like 1 billion people on it. Right now you have like 2 million people, and then you can steady like focus your growth. Like, okay, 3 million, you can check the data, the level of interaction is getting deeper. Then 4 million, 5 million. So it's a nice way to pace yourself from a business perspective.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned at the beginning, and I think it's a good place for us to maybe round up this segment, is what you were talking about the fact that there's sort of like a linking system that's inside there, where at the end of the day, people will go and see the fact that, okay, this person was added by this person and all of that. So there's that credibility factor that comes in. But you also mentioned the plan, you know, that it's going to work for the person that has the plan. How does someone put together a plan? I don't even know if those are the right words. You know, is it put together the right plan? Is it scoping the landscape? Like how do you approach Clubhouse in a way that it doesn't just end up becoming a random time waster for you, and it becomes something that can actually help you to build?
Yeah, I think it's time management is the important thing. So I mean, like when I first started Clubhouse, it messed up my sleeping patterns. I mean, that was good because, like, you know, you'd go on, let's say your normal 6 a.m. till like 8 p.m., 10 p.m. late in the evening. And then like the American people pop online and they start having interesting conversations, and you see yourself going to 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 3 a.m. So it's just, wow. You need to have that time management aspect set in place with yourself. I think even like, let's say how you take in your podcasts. You have specific podcasts for your cooking. If you're looking to do stuff to like fix your car, you go look for a mechanic podcast. If you're having kids, you go looking for something about your kids. So I think maybe each and every time, because it's very easy for this to consume your life and for you to forget that, you know, there's people outside of your apartment and off your device. So you always have that target. It's like, and also, I guess this is the great thing of people scheduling some of their topics and their discussions. So you can say, okay, I want to do a discussion about cooking, for instance, on Tuesday. On Monday, I want to do something about marketing, Wednesday, so on and so forth. So get your calendar going and stuff like that. One of the interesting strategies I did is with some of the invites I got, I realized that whole thing of just how important real estate is. So I had 2 people on my phone, very, very important people, like extremely important. One, I haven't talked to them in over 10 years. The other one I've actually never talked to, but this is like top level, like Africa level, world level impact people. And I sent them both invites. I saw they weren't on Clubhouse and I saw how many friends they all had it. I was like, you know what? Let me just, because if these guys pop up one day, be it a year from now, and they just have one conversation where like 5,000 people come and everyone clicks on their face. It's like, okay, they're going to see who invited. So your association is so important. So that's a little naughty technique. Be careful who you do it with, because you don't know how some of the people could react. But you can have those specific strategies. I think have a CRM manager, so you can manage the context. Always have a notebook with you, however you are, because you can't really record the audio unless the host decides to do it. But have a notebook, like always write down people's stuff. Do your best to transfer it to either an Excel sheet or something online, so you can keep your knowledge and you don't just lose all this valuable information. If Clubhouse gets deleted today, what are you taking from it? That's some of the discussions that we're having on it. You know, if it goes now, what are you left with? So have that open notebook, take people's details and connect. Don't wait till like next week to connect. If you hit it off with someone, connect right after the meeting. Try schedule a meeting to have a meeting with the person personally in the next 48 hours. And just build with that momentum. So those are my easy, simple tips. And then just explore. Clubhouse has this thing it does called welcome parties. So sometimes, depending if you're a new person and you have numerous people, the first day you come on, all your friends will come together, like all the strangers, and host a welcome party for you. I was lucky enough, like I don't know why, but I saw like while I was in the rooms, I saw like a welcome party being hosted. So it was like, welcome Abdul. And I'll use Abdul because there's no way you're going to find what the surname is. So I was like, oh, Abdul. So I clicked on it and I get into it and there's like 4 people and they're talking. So now it's kind of like a bit awkward because it's not like an open conversation. It was like a proper welcome party. Yeah. But then their conversation was so interesting and I was cooking at the same time. So I stayed on. Then all of a sudden I started hearing like I'm being pinged, like an invite to come on stage and talk. So then I went and I accepted. And I was like, hey, it's like, so the lady that was also, it's like, hey, Daniel, welcome. I see like, you're in the meeting, please meet Abdul. And this is who Abdul is. And then I started chatting with Abdul and we did like 15 minutes of chatting. And this is the amazing thing. Abdul is high on the level of Sheikh level. Like
I like that, on the like, Sheikh level.
Abdul is Prince level. And I was talking to someone at that type of level all the way across in one of these Arab nations. and we were just having a proper conversation. So you can do that with guys like Elon Musk, and different people like that. Just the opportunity to talk to someone with influence and leverage. It's the access is there. So yeah, I hope that convinces people to know that this is where you need to be. If you want to work on your brand, if you want to expand yourself, if you need a support group, it's a great place to be. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I certainly hope that the people at Clubhouse are listening to this right now, because, after this conversation, I feel like Daniel needs to become a brand ambassador at Clubhouse, because yes. But otherwise, thank you so much for just taking your time to share your knowledge and insights with us around Clubhouse, Daniel. Really appreciate this. Hopefully we can have you on again, either as a follow-up around Clubhouse, especially when the competing, what I'm looking forward to is to see if the competing services will be able to gain the traction that we are seeing from Clubhouse right now.
Yeah. I think they will. I think it will just be a different type of niche. But I think Clubhouse is like what Snapchat was for, for the video creating industry. It was that barrier. It removed that barrier to video creation and marketing. So I think that's what Clubhouse has done, and it'll be interesting to see how everyone competes. But yeah, it's unique. It's great. It's an awesome app. Yeah.
All right, cool. So that's been us with Daniel. We'll have him again another time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Daniel for sharing his insights with us, and just giving us those tips and tricks on how you can use Clubhouse, to network and to engage with people, and to build your profile. Take yourself forward, connect with people, do business, whatever it is that you want to do. In conclusion, I really like the app, and I think these guys have the potential of going far if they're able to, keep implementing this unique strategy, and make sure that they are able to scale without having too many issues. The fact, as I said, that you have the likes of Facebook and Twitter taking notice of the model means that there is something to what the team at Clubhouse is doing. With that said, I hope that they do keep it, more or less the same, especially on the audio only front. The moment that Clubhouse decides that they're going to add chat features and video calling and all of these things, then they just become another Zoom, another Microsoft Teams, another WhatsApp, another FaceTime. There will really be nothing that's there to separate them. So if they stick to their core, I personally think that they can go far, but it remains to be seen what the team decides to do. On the side of the big tech companies, Facebook and Twitter with its Spaces platform, really keen to see what that's going to mean about the evolution of the space, simply because of two key things. The first one, if these guys come in, right, what feature set are they going to offer? Is it audio only, or do they incorporate the rest of the features? Because these are platforms that already have a known way of operating, right? Are they gonna bring that mindset, or that paradigm to this new space, or are they gonna try to follow in Clubhouse's shoes? The second thing is on the side of the actual concept itself. If it becomes commercial, all the people that are on Clubhouse right now having these deep, meaningful conversations, will they still want to have these conversations, in these spaces anymore, or are they just going to retreat back into their corners and continue as if nothing ever happened? That's the danger when things become commercial. And in terms of that word commercial, all right, at the moment Clubhouse is free to use, and we have discussed the issue of business models when we spoke about WhatsApp, Facebook, Signal, and Telegram. And my suggestion, this is just me, have a subscription fee. Right, it saves you from doing all the ads, because the moment they introduce ads, it's going to dilute and water down what this platform is. So I think with the type of people that are there, people would be willing to pay some type of an annual fee just to be on the platform. So that's been it for this video. Thank you so much to everyone who was watching. Let us know in the comments, are you on Clubhouse? What do you think of the platform? Is this likely to become yet another app that we just add to our phones and then forget about after a few months? Because I think during the first couple of months of the pandemic, house party was the thing, and then, you know, slowly, at least in my circles, it seems to have fallen off. Is Clubhouse gonna go that way? What are Facebook, Twitter, and other big tech companies going to do to the space? And then on top of everything else, in your opinion, right, what do you think makes the platform unique? Are you on the platform? Have you joined? Do you think it is worth joining? Are people hyping it up too much? Let us know in the comments, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.
This is Muffs Too Much, and you're watching MobbJustice TV. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. We're there on YouTube. Thank you for watching our video. Subscribe.